This is an historic day for the province of Saskatchewan. I want to recognize the fact that Alberta and British Columbia have been providing national leadership with respect to reducing barriers between provinces and improving labor mobility for some time now. We signed an agreement today that creates an amazing economic force. The New West, an economic region of 9 million people strong and $555 billion in GDP. It is an economic region that is home to a number of industries that the world is very interested in right now. It is a home, this economic region, to not only the resources that people want, but in many cases the innovation and the science that the world is interested in terms of, well, life sciences, in terms of forestry science, in terms of sustainable energy work as well. This adds to trade and labor mobility in terms of our provinces working together on procurement issues, on innovation, cooperation, and also marketing internationally. You know, I'm not sure what we'll be able to announce in the next couple of months, but for example, we're looking very carefully at whether or not each province needs to have a trade office or representation in some market, China or any other markets. Is there a chance to work together? These are the kinds of tangible things that we want to do together as a result of the partnership.
I can tell you every one of them were attracted to the fact that we had a common market between British Columbia and Alberta, and we're excited by the opportunities that were there in terms of expanding it to Alberta. To be able to say to an international investor, we are trying to work to regularize or harmonize our regulatory regimes. We want to encourage investment. You should know that we want potash to move from Saskatchewan through to your markets as quickly as possible, energy from Alberta as quickly as possible. We're working in concert. When you can say to international investors, there's a 9 million person market that's available, when you can say that to our own businesses, it is a very positive economic launching pad. I'll just say that, in terms of being a small business in British Columbia, this is a way that we can encourage them to expand their business opportunities in Alberta and Saskatchewan. In terms of the taxpayer, we've already recognized significant savings to taxpayers by working together. We have enormous opportunities, as Premier Wall said, with regard to procurement, pharmaceutical procurement, school equipment, school procurements. These are opportunities that create better value for each and every one of our taxpayers. We did a joint weigh station in Alberta and British Columbia. We saved hundreds of thousands of dollars on the capital. We saved hundreds of thousands of dollars in the ongoing operating costs, and that was for the benefit of all of the taxpayers in British Columbia and Alberta. And this is a way that we can include Saskatchewan taxpayers in that, and I think that they all expect us to get the best value we can for the services that we provide. I think that there's no question that there is real interest from China in Saskatchewan, Alberta, and British Columbia. They see us as a foothold, not just in terms of economic development here, but a major resource opportunity for them, and we want to continue to pursue that.
We've just gone through a huge global economic shift. There's going to be a tremendous competition for labor, for investment. And investment will naturally navigate to those areas that have same regulations, larger base of population.
I think just about anyone will tell you a market of 9 million people has more power than a market, for example, of the size of British Columbia, 4.4 million people. When we deal with pharmaceuticals, if we have a common pharmaceutical purchasing strategy, we will save literally millions and millions of dollars.